Hello. Hello. Hello, Victoria Chaka. Welcome. Welcome to the fold. Thank you for making it so early, so prompt. Thank you, Victoria. We are going to give our benefit of doubt to our colleagues who are still on their way to connecting for 10 minutes. Then we'll kickstart the class.
Okay,
After
sir.
10 minutes. Yes. So permit me, Victoria, to share my screen.
Okay, sir.
Victoria, can you see my screen shared?
Yes, sir, I'm seeing it, sir.
Great, great. So see, we have 6 more minutes to kickstart the class. Yeah. Why don't so click on this? It's okay. 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 Yeah. Let me expand this one. Expand. Oh, yeah, cover. Wait. That one is like what's it called? Oh, the mouse. No, it's the oh, we know it. So not pass. Yeah, we are going to start the class at this point because it's till eternity. So at this point, Miss Victoria Achaka,
Yes, sir.
we're going to. I'm going to share the screen, and we start the class properly. It's
Okay, sir.
12 past 3. My expectation
Yes.
is that within 12 minutes, that other students ought to have all signed on to this class. Thank you.
Okay.
Permit me to share my screen, please.
Okay, sir.
So yeah, like we said earlier in introductory speech, that our topic is topic 5, and it's dealing with research questions and objectives. Couple of learning outcomes are marked here, and it's expected, therefore, that after this class, that students should be able to describe, explain what research objectives are, what research question is, what general objective means, and the specific objectives as well. And the students should also know what's the concept of hypothesis is all about. The course content, as it were, is also something that the student need to know, as it represents the resources from where they extract the knowledge that is used to moderate and then evaluate their performance. Research objective, however, emanates from research questions that comes from research gap created in the statement of research problem. Research questions are those questions raised from research gap intentionally to be answered so as to fill the gap so created. The gap in question is usually gap in knowledge about a particular phenomenon under consideration. The gap in knowledge may be identified in theory, methods, and findings of previous research after review. General research objective involves the statement of research topic or research title. It usually contains independent and dependent variables. General objective establishes causality in the research. That is the cause and effect principle. It must be simple and clear. Specific research objectives. These objectives are specific and are transposed from research questions. It reflects the gap in knowledge targeted to be filled. It's good that we ask ourselves this question. Can you identify the characteristics of research objectives? There are a couple of characteristics as mentioned earlier about research objectives. So you can unmute yourself, raise your hand, unmute yourself, and then answer the question. Yeah, so maybe we leave the question and its answer to when we'll be engaging the issues arising from the discussion. So we will interact and share and rub minds together in the class platform. The hypothesis. Hypothesis in research method is known or defined as unproven statement of fact. It is unverified statement or proposition. It features null and alternate hypothesis. For null, the symbol is HO, capital H and O. For alternate hypothesis, the symbol is big H and capital H and 1. Hypothesis is generally a proposition that is unverified. It is as well an unverified generalization. The challenge with this proposition or generalization is that it could project spurious claims and spurious tendencies. When spuriosity comes in to a research, it means it defeats or endangers the empirical standard of that findings from the research. So spuriosity is not encouraged to be allowed. Instead, you make provision for the intervening variable or some other variable like extraneous variables to accommodate the tendency of spuriosity. Course content. Your course content is actually one that are involved in the course of your study. Those content you are given as course materials are the content we are talking about here. It is usually in modules and in units. And for each unit, you have a class assignment after the introduction and then the body of the work. You have class assignment. And this class assignment is traditionally called the TMA, Tutor Mark Assessment. It also has, after the TMA or the class assignment, it has bibliography. This bibliography is the acknowledgement you have made to recognize those whom you had used their knowledge or their copyright in the course of the content development. So at this point, I want to end up with a conclusion that objectives in research relates to coordinated procedural plan aimed at answering research questions created from an established research gap. It is important for you to know that research gap will not exist if there is no title, research title or topics that respect the principle of causality. Thank you for the attention you have given me. As we relapse right now into class discussions and conversations, please do well by asking questions or making observations or whatever it is your concern about the discussion so far. Please let's be as brief as possible to be and also let your observation or question be relevant to what the topic of today is, which is research objectives and research questions. I thank you at this point as I take away my screen share for us to start discussion, to start engaging other highlights emanating from the discussion so far. Thank you. So I await your questions, your observations, and whatever that it is about the discussion area that you want to raise, so that we'll together look at it. Yeah. Okay, Victoria Chaka, your hand is up. Please unmute yourself and let's hear from you. Yeah, please unmute yourself and ask, and let's hear from you.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you, Victoria. Good evening.
Yes, on the research question on objective, there is this research question, so I want to know more about it. You didn't really explain that research question. Is it the question that you are going to do for your research, or is another something entirely for the research question on objectives?
Yeah, research question is actually the question you are going to be addressing in your research, while
Okay,
the
sir.
objective is the transposed research question. It's not different, the objective is not different from the research question, except that research question ends with question mark, while research objective is actually a statement.
Okay, sir.
So, for instance, if you say, what are the social concerns that sustains, insecurity in Nigeria? That's a research question, for instance. If you want to state the research objective, to transpose that research question into objectives, you simply say, to examine local concern that sustain insecurity in Nigeria.
Okay.
Yes. Is that clear?
Yes, thank you, sir.
Okay. So what again do you want to ask concerning what we have said so far?
This hypothesis, yes, sir. And
Hypothesis.
you should explain it more too.
Okay. Now, hypothesis in the first instance is an option that is aptly related to descriptive survey research. Hypothesis is not actually used in researches like the exploratory research, which is highly qualitative, but the descriptive survey, which is highly quantitative and numeral. So the hypothesis in this case is one that expresses hypothetical views or hypothetical facts, or expresses a kind of assumptions that can be considered to be unverified, that are considered to be like an assertion, an assumption. It is more or less a speculative statement. It's not a fact yet until it is tested. No wonder it usually comes in twos, in pairs. While one is a null hypothesis, the other one is an alternate hypothesis. If the null hypothesis is accepted, then the alternate hypothesis will be rejected. If the alternate hypothesis is accepted, the null hypothesis will be rejected. So in other words, hypothesis is untested fact, unverified generalization. One danger of taking hypothesis from its face value as final statement without testing it is that it has every chance, in fact, it is just spurious, When you talk about spuriosity in research, you are addressing the sentiments, the cages that could lead you into bringing a subjective consideration into the explanation of variable or phenomena. So hypothesis is not a fact yet, but when tested and it becomes a fact, it becomes a theory. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Yes. So remember that hypothesis come in pairs. That is null hypothesis and alternate hypothesis.
Okay, sir.
The null hypothesis, the symbol for it is H, capital H-O, while the alternate hypothesis, the symbol for it is capital H1.
Okay, sir.
Either of them can be rejected. Either of them also can be accepted, depending on your testing. When you test hypothesis through different method or different formula. You use chi-square somewhere, you use ANOVA the other way, and several other means. Okay.
Yes, sir. It's okay, sir.
What again do you want to ask about our discussion on research objectives and research hypotheses, research questions?
Yeah. Let's explain more on general objectives.
General objective. Thank you so
yes,
much.
sir.
Now, you have the you have research objective.
Yes.
You already know that research objectives emanates from research questions. That's clear.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Good.
sir.
And it is usually the research questions transposed that provides us with the research objectives. And I've demonstrated how the transposition goes, the form it takes, that the question only ends with question signs, whereas the transposed question ends with a full stop. Okay? And so your general objective in this case, because you say general objective, you are talking about your research topic, your research title. Okay, if you're talking
Yes,
about
sir.
your research topic, you have to state it properly without the case study, the context of the study. You state it straight ahead. You know, if you say PFRIN, impact of surveillance on PFRIN, on street PFRIN, okay, in Ajegule,
Yes, sir.
for instance. So you would now, when you are stating your general objective, you will discard that Ajegule, you know, which is the case study. You just talk about the variables in contention, which is the impact of surveillance. The variables are the surveillance and PFRIN. So surveillance, if surveillance goes up, if you tune surveillance up, then PFRIN will come down, will reduce. But if there is declining surveillance, then PFRIN will do what? Will go up. You understand?
Yes, sir.
For instance, if there is no stop and search in your street at 12 o'clock midnight, there is tendency that criminals can use that time to smuggle weapons or cross into communities and begin to harass them. You understand?
Yes, sir.
So that is to the extent to which general objective can be properly placed or located. So, but unlike the specific objectives, you know, addresses the questions, the research questions. So, and the research question, you know, was transposed into research objectives. Those specific objectives will now articulate the research questions so transposed. So if you have 3 research questions, specific research objectives become those 3 research objectives. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Great. So in all, while you say general objective, is that is the issue at stake that you want to test. In no time, that title will become like a statement of fact, depending on what your testing instrument gives you as result. So it is important that we understand that there is difference basically between the research objective, the specific research objectives, and then the general research objectives. Exactly. So is there any other thing that you want us to talk about?
No, sir, I'm okay.
Okay, so
I'm
look,
clear.
okay, do you want us to also look at the linkage between the research topic and then the research gap? Because in all of these, the research topic gives credence to the research gap, while the research gap also is the source or root of the research question. So if your research question are such or are such that when answered do not close the research gap, then those questions are defective. Research questions must be those questions that when answered, the gap in knowledge so created in the statement of problem will be filled. Do we understand?
Yes, sir.
Great. So, and it is very, very key that you know that the gap is all about what ought to be versus what is. Okay, what ought to
Yes, sir.
be versus what is. So the disconnect that led to that disconnection is actually the problem. And so you are charged with how do I connect this disconnection? It is how to connect this disconnection, in knowledge that leads you to asking certain questions salient to connecting the disconnection. And if your questions, when answered, cannot connect the disconnection, then those questions are defective. You understand?
Yes, sir.
It is this question that establishes the basis and the focus of for the research. Because if at the end of it all, that the questions are answered and the outcome is not addressing the research gap or the question, then those questions are not good. The hypothesis is also a transformation of the research question, just like your literature review, just like your um, instruments, data collection instruments, be it qualitative instrument or quantitative instrument. They are all tied to the research questions. And if you have a defective research question, then you will obviously have defective research procedures, because both the method you are applying in the research and the process will all not hold when the key thing, the research question, is not addressing the research gap. So there are a whole lot of things that tie to the research question, research gap, and research title that will make that makes the researcher to be very, very mindful of the kind of topic and the gap so created. I've simplified gap creation and research for you to understand how and why it is the root of research questions. I said the disconnect between what ought and what is. That disconnection had drawn a line yearning for the need to connect, to reconnect the ideal from the reality. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Great. So is there anything you want to ask again, whether it's general or within what we have discussed so far?
No, sir.
Have you started your research project?
No, sir. Till next semester.
Okay. So
Yes, sir.
with what you have learned today, can you tell me the three characteristics of research objectives?
Okay, sir. From my own view, research objective is a research question that are raised from a research gap internationally to be answered so as to fill the gap created. Yes, sir.
Like you are reading my PowerPoint. Is that right?
No, sir. No, sir.
You seem to be reading my PowerPoint. Eh?
No, sir.
Achaka, why not do it offhand? Okay, so go ahead. Three characteristics.
Yeah, it also emanates the research question that creates the statement of research problem.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All
Then
right.
the gap, it also has the usual gap, particularly of phenomena or under consideration.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Except that you have simply read out what that is what do I call, how do I call it? You just poured back what I gave to you. I thought you were going to use your own thoughts, you know. So, well, it's okay, but I expect that you ask some more questions, because if you say next semester is the time for your project to start, you need to know the basics of that doing project. What did you read in your first degree?
BA History.
BA History. Okay. Did you do project there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. What was your project topic then? Forgotten.
No, sir. It's about my tribe, sir.
You say? About
I
your
said
tribe.
it's about, yes, sir.
But that is not a topic. Now my question is, what topic did you work on during your BA History?
Pre-colonial rule from 1960 to 2019.
Okay, so how did it rub up? How did it connect your own tribe?
Yes, I wrote about Rukubaland. Rukubaland.
Where is Rukubaland?
Yeah, in Jos.
Okay, you are from Jos.
Yes, sir.
And you are from Rukubaland.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes, so I wrote about how it came about and how their marriage works and some other things that they do in the community and in the land.
Okay. So did you encounter research questions there?
Yes, sir. Because
So
I went on a field work. So
okay.
I went on a field work, so I asked questions.
Okay.
I ask people questions, so that's how I get some things to write about it.
Okay, that's interesting. So, but while the research lasted, how did you define your variables? I know research in history is completely different from research in the social sciences. So research in history is mostly content analysis, kind of using case studies and evidential stuff. So, but at the end of the day, you still have some element of general research embedded in the historical research. It's okay. It's okay, Victoria. It's nice hearing your experience as a researcher. So basically, what is the difference between the research we are trying to teach you now as a criminologist and the research you were taught in history?
Yeah, the research.
There is difference, right?
Yes, there is a big difference.
For instance?
We're talking about the acknowledgement.
Acknowledgement.
Yes, the significance of studies.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
Interesting. Which center
Yes.
are you in? National Open University.
Just center.
Okay, so you are joining us from Just Center.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Significance of the study and what again?
Statement background of the study.
Background of the study. Oh, great. Oh, great.
Yes, sir.
Then you mentioned bibliography.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Mm.
That's good. Well, that's nice. And then since we are waiting,
and it needs far different from what I'm doing now, like the table of content.
okay. Did you do
Yes, sir.
did you do table of content during your time or you are doing it now?
No, during my time.
Okay, you had table of content.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Here we also do table of content, but we do
Okay.
that when we have finished the work.
Okay.
You know, some people have kind of thematic tables that must be followed. So they will prefer that you construct one before you even start your work. So, but in our case, we don't do it that way. We already have a template of what a social or criminological research should look like. So we follow it bit by bit.
Okay.
All right. Have you had any facilitation or research method since you joined my department?
Sir?
Have you had any facilitation on research method since you joined my department?
No, only yours, sir.
Okay. I hope
Yeah.
you are enjoying it. Or do you have any concern you want to share with me?
Yes, sir.
What is the concern?
Okay. I want to know, in criminology, they ask who is a criminologist.
Okay, great.
Yes,
The,
sir.
the criminologist is that person trained to scientifically understudy crime control, crime detection, crime
Okay.
surveillance, crime treatment, and crime prevention, human society.
Okay.
And what the crime in itself means is violation of a criminal law of a given legal jurisdiction that is sanctionable upon arrest,
Okay.
investigation,
Okay.
prosecution, and conviction.
Yes.
Yes, so that is what a criminologist is out to do. So we are interested in the activities of the police force, the
Okay.
activities of the courts, criminal
Yeah.
justice administration, and in the
Okay.
activities of the prison system, that is
Okay.
correctional system.
Okay.
Yes, such systems are together called the criminal justice system. You
Okay.
understand?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we have the criminal justice system administrators, and we have criminal justice system uh, professionals. You are the professional, while the administrative arm of it are those, the court clerk, are those the judge, the this, the that. You understand?
Yes, sir.
You know, a lawyer can be a criminologist, a lawyer who specializes in the criminal law can become a criminologist, and that is why we are taking law first degree for our master's program.
Okay.
You have a lot of opportunities as a criminologist when you are done with your program. You can venture into private practice, can venture into consultancy. You can also venture into humanitarian activities, charity homes. You can as well venture into treatment of offender systems like the court habilitation, habilitation system, you know, and reformatory system, and the prison system, the court system, and also the law enforcement system. You can work in all of these places. No way, no aspect of human endeavor that a criminologist will not fit, because you're actually after how do we bring sanity and how do we stem the tide of criminality. Of course, you know that all human beings have one way or the other elements of criminality. It's just like
Yes, sir.
my people used to say that it's only the thief that have been caught. Okay, that is a thief. Otherwise, all of us are thieves, including you and me, Abi. So meaning that you are also a criminal like myself. So be ready to answer a criminal whenever I call you as a criminal. Because it takes the rat to catch the rat. Is that not so?
Yes, sir.
So if you are not a criminal, then you can't function well as a criminologist. Now, that is why when we go to research on drug addicts,
yes,
we
sir.
try to take the drug a little bit. When we go to place where to research about the musician, we try to do as if we are musicians. So you behave like a rat to catch a rat. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Thank you so very much. It's been wonderful,
Yeah.
the interactive section. So
Thank
is
you,
there
sir.
any other thing you want us to talk about?
Yes, sir.
And what is that?
So I want to just ask, so that means criminologists work hand in hand with maybe someone that studied law.
Oh, sure. Now you are
Okay.
partially a lawyer, but not a substantive lawyer. You know, we have what we have two types of law practitioners, okay, or lawyers. We have the jurisprudential lawyers, and we have the substantive lawyers. The substantive lawyers addresses civil cases, civil rights, okay? But the jurisprudential lawyers talked about the jurisprudence, the etiology of crime and criminality. Okay, they also addresses issues of criminal laws. So you can see we are not completely lawyers, but we are halfway lawyers, just like the lawyers are halfway criminologists.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes,
So,
sir. Understood.
so what again do you want to ask? Victoria, what again do you want to ask a question?
Nothing really, sir.
Okay, but it's been interesting interacting with you. Thank you
Yes,
so
sir.
very much.
Thank you, sir.
For how long have you partook in this facilitation? Is this your first time?
No. It's not my first time, sir.
How many times have you participated?
More than 3 times, sir.
Interesting. So that's good, Chaka.
Mm.
Then on Wednesday, we are going to have, this one is a rescheduled facilitation. You remember?
Yes, sir.
Rescheduled from last week, Wednesday to today. So we
Yes.
still have another class for another topic on Wednesday, 4 to 5. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So on that note, I say we are going to draw the curtain today, and then I expect to have you again on Wednesday this week, 4 to 5 p.m.
Okay, sir.
Thank you so very much. Why are you not using your picture on this platform? I'm only seeing your name, not your picture. You are seeing my picture, aren't you?
I'll put it, sir.
Put it up. Let me see your face and see who I've been chatting with. Are you doing it now?
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
You must be a computer witch.
Yes, sir.
Well done.
I'm having a network problem.
Okay, no problem, Achaka.
Yes, sir.
On this note,
Yes, I'm
I have
trying
to
to
call it.
upload.
No problem. On this note, I have to
Yes,
call
sir.
it a day. I hope to see
Okay, sir.
you next time, Wednesday this week, 4 to 5.
5. Okay, sir.
4 to 5.
Okay, sir. I'll try and do it, but it's just the network.
No problem, no problem.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And should you have any further question to ask, you can just ring me or you send me an email. I think my details are online.
Okay, sir.
Or head of department,
Okay, sir.
Criminology and Security Studies.
Okay, sir.
So whatever it is that you are not too sure of or you are confused about Criminology and Security Studies, let me know. We discuss it.
Okay, sir.
I do hope you enjoyed today's class.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
You had it all alone. Nobody
Maybe
to
some of them, maybe they are having some issue with the network.
Exactly.
Yes,
Network
sir.
can
Yes,
be.
sir.
It was
It's a
network that
network.
took me away last week from
Yes, sir.
you, that led to postponing this one to today.
Yes,
So
sir.
I hope that by Wednesday we won't have
Yes, sir.
repetition of
It will
that.
be like that by God's grace.
Amen. Thank
Yeah.
you so much,
Thank you,
Victoria,
sir.
and
Thank
have a
you,
wonderful evening.
And you too, sir.
All right. Bye.
Bye, sir.
All right.
Mm.